Have you ever imagined how a simple gesture, like placing the rosary under your pillow every night, can transform your spiritual life? Padre Pio, one of the most revered saints of the Church, deeply believed in the power of this habit, and he wasn't alone. Thousands of faithful throughout the centuries have testified to miracles and blessings after adopting this daily practice. We're not talking about a mere ritual, we're talking about a true act of faith, a direct connection to heaven. And did you know that this simple gesture can bring far more benefits than you might think? Keep reading to discover 5 spiritual reasons why you should start placing the rosary under your pillow every night. You'll be amazed by the impact this can have on your life. Few gestures carry as much symbolism and depth as placing the rosary under your pillow before bed. This simple act is a silent expression of faith, a constant reminder of God's presence beside us. In Christian spirituality, the rosary is seen as a sacred link to the Virgin Mary and a protection against adverse spiritual forces. Many believe that by resting their head on it, the soul aligns with heavenly peace, allowing the mind and heart to rest under God's protection. This practice isn't just a custom, it's a spiritual refuge amid the worries of life. Beyond spiritual protection, there's a deep sense of surrender and trust in Jesus Christ when you adopt this habit. The rosary is not just an object of devotion, but a living testimony of faith that accompanies us even in our moments of rest. Who hasn't felt their mind racing before sleep, as if a whirlwind of worries tried to take over the night? By placing the rosary under the pillow, the faithful offer their anxieties to God, asking His mercy to envelop them. Night becomes more than a mere physical rest. It turns into a moment of communion, where the soul rests in God's presence. There are many accounts of people experiencing more peaceful and protected sleep after adopting this devotional practice. Padre Pio himself recommended the rosary as a shield against the forces of evil, reinforcing that prayer is the Christian's best defense. During sleep, when consciousness rests, the spirit remains attuned to the blessings of heaven. And so, upon waking, there's a different feeling, a spiritual renewal, as if faith had been strengthened during the night. But there's more to this practice than rest. It's a path of deepening your relationship with God, which grows stronger every day. The prayer of the Rosary is much more than a repetitive set of words. It's a deep dive into the mysteries of the Christian faith. Each Hail Mary and Our Father guides the mind and heart on a spiritual journey that brings us closer to Jesus Christ. When meditating on the mysteries of the Rosary, we relive the life of Christ and the Virgin Mary, contemplating their joys, sorrows, and triumphs. This practice turns prayer into a moment of reflection and introspection, where the faithful disconnect from the distractions of the world and connect with God's presence. It's not just about praying, it's about immersing oneself in the meaning of each mystery, allowing spirituality to penetrate the soul. In addition to being a tool for meditation, the Rosary is a powerful form of intercession. By reciting it, the Christian not only seeks personal strength but also intercedes for their family, friends, and even for those they may never meet. Many people have witnessed miracles and graces granted through the persevering prayer of the Rosary, whether in healing diseases, converting hardened hearts, or resolving seemingly unsolvable problems. Just as a friend brings another's concerns to someone influential, when we pray the Rosary, we bring our deepest intentions to God through the intercession of the Virgin Mary. This intercessory power of the Rosary isn't an abstract concept but a lived reality for countless faithful throughout the centuries. Saints like Saint Louis Delaware Montfort and Padre Pio devoted themselves to this devotion with fervor, witnessing its effectiveness. Who hasn't gone through moments of uncertainty, feeling too weak to continue? The Rosary is that bridge that strengthens us and teaches us that we are never alone. Each bead that slips between the fingers is one more step in trust in God, in the certainty that He listens and acts. But there's something even deeper the Rosary offers. The practice of the Rosary doesn't just strengthen the soul, but the mind as well. In a world where anxiety and stress seem to dominate the days, finding a moment of peace has become essential. As you recite the Rosary, the repetition of prayers creates a gentle rhythm that calms the thoughts, almost like a spiritual melody. Breathing slows down, the heart quiets, and the mind lets go of immediate concerns. This state of serenity isn't by chance, Studies show that prayer can lower cortisol levels, the stress hormone, providing a real sense of tranquility. In other words, the Rosary is not only a devotional act but also a powerful tool for emotional balance. Additionally, the Rosary promotes a better quality of sleep. Many faithful report that by sleeping with the Rosary under their pillow and praying it before resting, they experience more peaceful and restorative nights. This happens because prayer aligns the spirit with God's peace, dispelling fears and anxieties. Instead of letting the mind wander into worries, the faithful surrender to trust in divine providence. It's not uncommon to find people who, after adopting this practice, notice a significant improvement in the quality of their rest, waking up more energized and with a renewed heart to face the day. But the benefits don't stop there. The continuous practice of the Rosary strengthens faith and develops a more positive outlook on life. Through daily meditation on the mysteries of Jesus Christ's life, the faithful learn to see their own struggles through a more spiritual lens. Patience, gratitude, and resilience become virtues more present in everyday life, making challenges feel lighter. Those who pray the Rosary regularly begin to notice subtle yet profound changes in how they view the world. And this transformation, not only individual, can extend beyond personal life. There are countless testimonies of the faithful who experienced profound changes after making the Rosary part of their lives. There are stories of people who found strength to overcome addictions, restore relationships, and even experience unexpected healings. Many who struggled with insomnia or nightmares discovered that, by placing the Rosary under their pillow and praying it before sleep, their inner peace was restored. It's as if, holding the beads between their fingers, they were also holding God's hand. These experiences show that the Rosary is not just a prayer, but a path of spiritual transformation. One powerful testimony is that of a young woman who, facing deep depression, decided to cling to the Rosary as a last hope. At first, the words felt mechanical, but over time, she began to feel a comforting presence, as if the Virgin Mary herself were by her side. Day by day, her faith grew stronger, and with it, her life began to change. Her testimony joins that of thousands of other Christians who found refuge in the Rosary prayer amid life's storms. When all seemed lost, perseverance in prayer brought light to the darkness. But it's not just individuals who bear witness to this transformative power. Many families began praying the Rosary together and saw their relationships strengthen. Problems that once seemed insurmountable were now faced with more patience and faith. The home environment became more harmonious, and God's presence was felt more intensely. The prayer of the Rosary creates a current of grace that extends beyond personal life and touches everyone around. And this connection between faith and the story of Christians is nothing new. The Rosary has deep roots in Christian history and has always been a powerful spiritual tool throughout the centuries. Tradition tells us that the Virgin Mary herself gave this prayer to Saint Dominic in the 13th century as an effective means of conversion and strengthening of faith. Since then, countless saints and church leaders have promoted this devotion, recognizing it as a path of spiritual growth and protection from evil. Saint Louis Delaware Montfort, for example, taught that the Rosary was an indispensable weapon for every Christian, capable of transforming lives and sustaining the Church in difficult times. One of the greatest devotees of the Rosary was Saint Padre Pio, who would pray it dozens of times a day. He called the Rosary the weapon for the modern age, reinforcing the importance of this prayer as a spiritual shield. Many historical accounts show how this devotion was present at crucial moments in Christian faith. From battles where armies were miraculously protected to Marian apparitions, the Rosary has always been a symbol of resistance and hope. This connection between faith and history makes this practice not just a devotional act, but a living legacy that transcends generations. The Church has always encouraged this practice, granting indulgences to those who pray the Rosary with devotion. Popes, like St. John Paul II, reinforced its spiritual value, even instituting the luminous mysteries to deepen the meditation on this prayer. Over the centuries, the Rosary has not only shaped the lives of saints, but also inspired countless faithful to draw closer to God. And even today, as the world faces spiritual and moral challenges, this prayer remains a cornerstone of faith. But its power goes beyond history and tradition. The Rosary is not just a prayer, it is a true shield against spiritual attacks. For centuries, Christians have used it as a weapon of protection against temptations, fears, and trials. When a faithful person prays the Rosary with faith, they grow spiritually and draw closer to God, becoming less vulnerable to negative influences. It's like wearing an invisible armor that protects the mind and heart. Many saints taught that, by holding the Rosary, it's as if we are holding the Virgin Mary's hand, which leads us directly to Christ. In moments of trial, when doubts and difficulties seem insurmountable, the Rosary acts as a beacon that lights the way. There are accounts of people who, in the midst of spiritual crises and persecutions, found strength and courage in the daily prayer of the Rosary. A notable example is that of Catholics persecuted during wartime, who found in the repetition of the Hail Marys a refuge and an inexhaustible source of hope. It's amazing how something so simple can have such a powerful impact. When fear knocks at the door, the Rosary becomes a reminder that God is always in control. Moreover, the Rosary is a weapon against the spiritual distractions that pull Christians away from their walk with God. The modern world offers countless distractions that make prayer and connection with the divine difficult. But those who make the Rosary part of their routine find that their mind and heart begin to order themselves better. It helps strengthen spiritual discipline, making it easier to resist temptations and stay focused on faith. And when this prayer is done in a group, the effect multiplies. Praying the Rosary together is an experience that strengthens the bonds between the faithful and creates an atmosphere of grace and unity. When many voices unite in one prayer, the environment transforms, and God's presence becomes even more palpable. In churches, homes, and even outdoor gatherings, the communal prayer of the Rosary has the power to inspire and renew faith. It's no wonder that so many Christian communities gather regularly to pray it, feeling strengthened on their spiritual journey. After all, Jesus taught us that where two or more are gathered in His name, He is there with them. Beyond spiritual strengthening, the practice of the Rosary in community teaches the importance of perseverance and intercession. When a group comes together to pray, each Hail Mary becomes a request for grace, not just for those present, but for the entire Church and the world. Many testimonies show that Rosary prayer groups have brought about miracles, healings, and surprising conversions. The act of praying together creates a chain of faith that transcends barriers, uniting different generations and cultures with one purpose: the search for God. This practice also has a transformative effect on people's daily lives. Those who regularly participate in prayer groups feel more motivated to live the gospel and practice charity. It's not uncommon to see communities that, beyond praying together, also engage in social actions and help the needy. The Rosary, therefore, not only unites the faithful spiritually but also motivates them to take action in the world. And this connection between faith and culture has been evident throughout history. The Rosary is not just a devotional practice but also a cultural icon that spans centuries and borders. It appears in paintings, sculptures, and even literature, symbolizing faith, protection, and connection to the divine. Great works of art, like those by Caravaggio and Murillo, depict the Virgin Mary handing the Rosary to the faithful, highlighting its spiritual significance. Additionally, Christian musicians have composed hymns and songs inspired by this prayer, turning each Hail Mary into a melody that touches the heart and lifts the soul. The influence of the Rosary goes beyond the Church and extends to artistic expressions that shape faith over time. In cinema and literature, the Rosary also appears as a powerful symbol of hope and resistance. Christian films often show characters who, in moments of despair, turn to the Rosary as a source of strength and comfort. Classics of literature, like the writings of St. Louis Delaware Montfort, exalt this devotion as a sure path to salvation. Even in settings where faith is challenged, the Rosary emerges as a visible sign of God's presence. It carries a message that transcends barriers. Persistent prayer transforms lives and strengthens the soul in the face of tribulations. Interestingly, even in secular contexts, the Rosary continues to be recognized as an object of spiritual value. Some people carry it with them not just as a religious accessory but as a quiet reminder of the faith that sustains their lives. It is present in the weathered hands of the elderly who pray it daily, in the pockets of young Christians seeking guidance, and even in families who wish to pass down the tradition to the next generation. But more than a symbol, the Rosary needs to be lived and integrated into daily life. Integrating the Rosary prayer into daily routine may seem challenging at first, but with small changes, it can become a transformative habit. The first tip is to find a quiet moment, preferably at night, to pray it before going to bed. Placing the Rosary under the pillow is a symbolic gesture that conveys trust in divine protection. This prayer moment can be a turning point for many people struggling with insomnia or anxiety, providing them peace and serenity before rest. If time is short, there's no problem in praying just a few mysteries. The important thing is to persevere. Another practical tip is to pray the Rosary with family or friends. This act strengthens bonds and creates an atmosphere of faith in the home. For young Christians, for example, it can be interesting to do this at night, creating a weekly or even daily tradition where everyone gathers to share in prayer and meditation. When praying together, the prayer becomes more powerful, and the union among people is strengthened. Furthermore, by incorporating the Rosary into everyday life, small moments can be transformed into acts of devotion, such as praying while walking, waiting in traffic, or even at work, always with attention and focus on the mysteries. Finally, it's important to remember that the Rosary is not just a repetition of prayers, but a means of deep meditation. When praying it, try to visualize the mysteries being remembered. Meditate on the life of Christ and the Virgin Mary, allowing these moments to touch your heart and deepen your faith. One great way to do this is to listen to meditations or sermons on the Rosary while praying, to delve even further into the lessons it offers. This practice can be a starting point for new spiritual experiences that will bring both physical and emotional benefits. And as you continue on this journey, the Rosary has the power to offer not only a connection with God, but also true emotional healing. By reciting its prayers and meditating on the mysteries of Christ's life, many find a sense of relief and inner peace. In moments of anguish, when anxiety and sadness seem to take over, the peaceful repetition of the prayers helps push away these negative feelings. Moreover, focusing on the divine mysteries allows the mind to focus on something greater than daily worries, providing deep comfort. This daily practice can be a foundation for emotional health, restoring serenity and trust. In desperate situations, the simple act of holding the Rosary and reciting its prayers can bring a sense of comfort and solace. And by practicing it consistently, one begins to notice an internal transformation. The heart becomes calmer, the mind more focused, and the spirit lighter. Those who adopt the Rosary as a habit for emotional healing find that prayer not only frees the soul but also brings balance to the emotions, allowing one to live with more peace and clarity. This type of healing doesn't happen overnight, but by committing to daily prayer, the Rosary becomes a powerful tool for restoring emotional well-being. It becomes a true source of refuge, offering comfort in the hardest times and strengthening faith, even in moments of weakness. And this transformation begins with a small, daily gesture. Mary, as our Heavenly Mother and intercessor, plays a vital role in the spiritual lives of Christians. The Rosary, being a prayer that exalts her, is a way of asking for her intercession in our lives. When praying the Rosary, the person not only seeks Mary's protection but also places their needs in her hands, trusting that she will carry their petitions to her Son. This trust in Mary's help brings a sense of security, for we know she will never abandon us, always interceding on our behalf. The practice of the Rosary, therefore, strengthens this mother-child relationship, bringing us closer to Mary and, consequently, to Jesus. When the Rosary is prayed with devotion, each prayer becomes an invitation for Mary to lead us closer to Christ. This simple yet profound gesture allows us to surrender to her motherly help, knowing she will always be by our side, guiding us and interceding for our needs. Moreover, the Rosary serves as a constant reminder that we are not alone in our spiritual struggles. With Mary by our side, we can face challenges with more courage and confidence. Every Hail Mary we pray is an act of trust in the Virgin's intercession, who, with love and dedication, helps us attain divine grace. And this surrender of trust leads us directly to the next step in our faith journey. In a world full of distractions and challenges, maintaining a steady spiritual life can be difficult. However, the Rosary presents itself as a means of spiritual perseverance. Its repetitive and meditative prayer serves as a daily reminder that faith must be constantly nurtured, not only in good times but also in difficult moments. When we commit to praying it daily, the Rosary becomes a foundation, a practice that keeps us firm in faith, even when temptations or obstacles arise on our path. Perseverance in the Rosary is not just about repeating prayers, but about commitment to the spiritual journey. Each mystery prayed brings out an important aspect of the life of Christ and Mary, teaching us valuable lessons about patience, faith, and trust in God. This strengthens us to persevere on our own journey, reminding us that faith must be cultivated and lived out consistently. In this way, the Rosary teaches us to be persistent and to trust, even in times of adversity. By making the Rosary a daily practice, we don't just repeat words, we deepen our relationship with God and the Church. The spiritual perseverance the Rosary teaches us is essential for a life of true and unwavering faith. And, over time, this practice becomes not just a habit, but a fundamental part of our Christian walk, drawing us closer to God with each prayer. Are you ready to take this spiritual step and place the Rosary under your pillow every night? Imagine the peace you could experience by completely surrendering to Mary's protection and the strength of the Gospel before you sleep. Are you willing to let this practice transform your routine, ease your worries, and strengthen your faith? Start today. Don't wait any longer. And if these words touched your heart and you want to continue learning more about how to apply spirituality in your life, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Don't miss the upcoming videos that will help you live a fuller life, with more faith and trust in God. Let's walk together on this journey of spiritual transformation.